So string 2 has the subname string synth. This is basically, it's almost the same as the sympathetic string one, but instead of taking input signal in and just vibrating with whatever the microphone in or line in is getting, this one lets you play the keyboard play the string as though it's kind of like a synth keyboard sound. So it's actually the same model running inside of it. So what can you do with this one? So up here, the first knob is pluck volume. So it's kind of like how hard you're striking it in a way. You can also, there's another knob later on the pages that'll change whether velocity is taken into account here or not of the keyboard. But if you have velocity not paying attention to it, this is your only volume control in that case. This is pluck tone, so I have pretty extreme settings on it, so it goes from pretty bassy to pretty trebly, but this is actually a bandpass filter on the noise burst that represents the pluck, so you can kind of shape the tone of it. If it's really low, it feels a little bit like lightly plucking a string with your finger. As you move this up, it's sort of like the material that you're plucking it with is harder. It goes from kind of fingernail maybe to plastic pick to, I don't know what that is, some kind of piece of metal or something, right? So just sort of you can set the softness and hardness of the plucking material there. Decay works just the same as it does in the sympathetic string one, except that it's lets you go a little further on the deadness to give sort of more variety of damping versus so if you have decay all the way up, it's pretty much infinite. If you have it a little down, it'll die away eventually. This decay time is also dependent on what the pitch of the note is, so low notes will decay longer than high notes. Then there's damping, so once again, that's like a low-pass filter inside the feedback loop, just like in sympathetic string preset. Feels a little bit like a buff stop on a harpsichord. But it's maybe can get pretty extreme to the point where it detunes things. So watch out for that. It's not just controlling the timbre, but also kind of detuning as you get up high. I'm going to work on that and see if I can replace the filter with one that has linear phase and therefore doesn't do that, and still have a good tone. So pick position works just like in sympathetic string. It's going to kind of select different harmonics based on where you're plucking it. And prep position, you've got the preparation on these strings as well. So I'm going to turn my pluck tone kind of high so I can really hit some high harmonics here. Yeah, let me see if I can turn up my decay time. See if I can coax these to speak a little more. Yeah. You can get some nice harmonics that way. I might work on doing something that lets you like put an envelope on this so that the preparation can be, the string can be touched when you pluck it and then immediately like that kind of thing. So you can, the way that you would actually touch the string, pluck it, and then lift your finger if you were playing a real harmonic, rather than leaving your finger on it and letting it damp it. That might be kind of nice. It's hard to do with the knobs. So let ring also kind of works the same as it does on the other sympathetic string patch. So it means, are the strings allowed to vibrate when they aren't being directly controlled by the keyboard, as in when they get a note off, do they keep ringing or not? So if I turn that up, they'll just keep going. Can be a nice effect. Over here, feedback level. So this is if you turn on feedback mode, which is the C button, just like on sympathetic strings. If you turn on feedback mode, this sets the level at which they try to feedback at. So if you have it kind of low, you can get them to just sort of lightly. And you can drive them if you put this up high. That kind of thing. Yeah, let's see. Is there anything else fun? Oh, yeah. So if you want to use it kind of like the sympathetic string one, too, and you want to bring in a input signal to trigger it as well as the pluck, then you can just press audio in, and now input 1 is also coming into your keyboard synth as something to vibrate the strings. So here's and if I wanted to turn the pluck volume down, then it's kind of basically equivalent to the sympathetic string patch when MIDI is controlling it. This is also a nice, fun place to play with the alternate tunings, because you can really hear them very well when you're doing the string synth. So let me turn off audio in, turn my pluck volume back up, and turn the tone somewhere reasonable. Be a little harpsichord here. Let's see, like. Some nice weird chords. This is some quarter comma mean tone where things like C major are going to sound really nice. Well, pretty nice. The thirds are great. Fifths are a little wonky, but not too bad. F sharp major just sounds terrible because your third is just totally wrong. C sharp also weird. E flat, kind of wrong but interesting. A flat pretty bad. I like that F sharp actually. It's good, or the F minor here is kind of weird. That A flat gives an interesting minor third. Yeah, so this is a nice way to experiment with the tunings too. Anything else? I don't think so. Oh, release. So this is basically if you have let ring off, then release is setting the time at which, when notes are released, they'll actually die away. So if it's really short, then if it's up a little bit, it's more like that kind of thing. If let ring is up, this release time won't matter at all because it's basically the time at which to release to the value that let ring is set at. So it'll release down to half volume if you have the release time up and then let ring at like 0.5 or something. So you hear that. I think that's about what I wanted to say about that one.